Okay, today let's discuss the ERD exercise 2 that I have given to you previously. Okay, so please refer to the questions. All right, so in the questions, it asks you to create an ERD diagram. Okay, so firstly, you have to read through all the narratives, okay, and then identify the business rules. Okay, so here the business rule starts from the second paragraph. Okay, it says here, a manager may manage many projects, but a project can be managed by one manager. Okay, so identify the entity. So here it relates to project entity and manager's entity. So a manager may manage many projects, but a project can only be managed by one manager. Okay, next one. Each project requires the service of many employees. An employee may be assigned to several different projects. So the entities are project and employee. Okay, so each project requires the service of many employees. Okay, and then you have to go to the other side. An employee may be assigned to several different projects. So in here, several different projects means many projects. Next one. Each employee has a single job classification, whereas the same job classification may be assigned to many employees. This job classification determines the hourly working rate. Okay, so the entities involved are employee entity and job classification entity. All right, so looking at the business rules, it says each employee has a single job classification. So single job classifications means one job classification, whereas the same job classification may be assigned to many employees. Right? So this is how we read the business rule and draw the ERD. So combine all the entities and the relationship, then we can get this ERD, entity relationship diagram. So with the entities here and also the relationship. Remember the lines, no arrow, okay, only lines to relate the entities, no arrow. So this one is ERD without associative entity. Remember, what is associative entity that I explained to you in the previous video? Yes, associative entity, it will occur between many to many relationship, right? So in many to many relationship, we will change into one to many relationship by adding the associative entity. So how we create the associative entity? Change the many to many relationship into one to many by adding associative entity in between the many to many entities. So many to many entities here referring to project entity and employee entities. Okay, because there the relationship is many to many. So we want to include the ERD with the associative entity. So we create a new entity in between project and also employee. So we can name the new entity taking the name from the project, okay, underscore the employee. Then we change. Okay, what else that we change? Remember just now the many to many relationship? Okay, just now M is here, right? Now we have changed it, M in the middle. Okay, M and N in the middle. At the end here is 1. Okay, 1. So change from just now many to many relationship M at the project, N at the employee, we change to 1 to M. Now 1 at the project, 1 at the employee. So the M and N in the new associative entity. Okay, so this is how we change many-to-many relationship into one-to-many relationship by adding the associative entity in between. Okay, next, the question asks you to create or to identify the attributes, okay, for each of the entities, including the associative entity. So including the primary key and also the foreign key, if any. Okay, so just now we have created manager, project, project employee, employee, and job classification. So now each of these entities must have its attributes. Okay, remember, attributes is the characteristic of the entity. So we have to identify what are the characteristics for each of these entities. Okay, for example, project. Okay, so for project, entity is project. Primary key is project number, project description, manager ID. Okay, project and the primary key is the project number. Okay, all related to the project is the attributes. Okay, manager, entity, the attributes for the primary key is manager ID. The special characteristic that identify each of the manager is the manager ID. Okay, and then we can have the manager name as the attributes, manager email as the attributes. And for manager, there are no foreign key. There is no foreign key. Okay, so you can put dash here. So how do we know which one has foreign key, which one don't have the foreign key? Okay, usually you can look at the relationship here. Usually the M will have foreign key, whereas 1 don't have the foreign key. Okay, next, let's see job. Okay, for job entity, the primary key is the job code. Okay, other attributes about that job have the job description, okay, job rate, and then attribute for foreign key, there's no foreign key for job entity. Okay, because this one can. Whereas for employee entity, okay, the primary key is employee ID. Other attributes, you can put employee name, employee phone number, employee email. Okay, and remember here the M is at the employee entities. So there will exist foreign key at the employee entities. So the foreign key here, you take the primary key in another related table. So it relates to job entity, and the primary key in job entity is the job code. So job code bring into the employee entity to become the foreign key. Okay, so clear how we can create the foreign key? Okay, by taking the primary key in another related table. Okay, so same with this one. The foreign key for project is manager ID. It is the primary key in another related table. Okay, what about associative entity? So associative entity, okay, so project employee entity just now, we take the primary key in project number to become its primary key, and we take the employee ID to become its primary key. So here it exists two primary keys. Okay, okay, remember N. Okay, it will take other primary keys to put into its entity attributes. And other attributes you can put as, for example, date. Okay, so this is an example of the entity, including the associative entity and also its attributes. Okay, so the attributes involve the primary key and foreign key, if any. Okay, not all entities have a foreign key. Yeah, but every entity must have primary key and also other attributes. Okay, next we design the interface. So in design the interface form. Okay, interface form for, let's say, this one, a project record or registration system. Okay, so in form, when you create a design, you put the label. So this is the label, and then this is text box. Okay, you can also have the combo box here so that user can easily choose. Okay, and then put the command button. Okay, where you can click and then it will go to the next next process. Okay, another example here. Okay, put the combo box. Okay, and then can put checkbox, radio buttons. Okay, and as well, same goes to just now, have the command button. Okay, so for the questions, it asks you to design the form interface, okay, that include the form header, command buttons, combo box, labels, text box. So you can design. Okay, so here, let's say form header, you can put the company name, what are the form, okay, or the system name, and then you can have the logo, and then put the label attributes that involve for that forms, and then this is the combo box. Okay, you can put like the triangle there. Okay, and then the text box here where user can key in information, and lastly is the command button. Okay, all right, this is for the forms. Another one, design the report. For design the report, it has report header. Okay, report header, and then the page header. What are the attributes that you want to put? Okay, information that you want to put in the report. Group footer. This one, if it groups one group, two groups. Okay, so it has separate groups. So this one is group footer. Okay, this one is group footer. Whereas this one is the total, grand total, we call it as report footer. So for the questions, you can design, for example, like this one. Okay, on top, the report header, put the company name, and then what are the report name. Okay, let's say you want to put for the month of blah, 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 for the year of blah, blah, blah. Okay, and then you can have the logo, for example. And then what are the information that you want to put in the report, right? So let's say if you want to have a monthly or yearly, so you can put January, this is the list, and then down there February, what are the lists of the project, March, what are the lists. Okay, so you can design by your own. And then lastly, we have here the grand total, okay, which is the report footer. All right, so this is how we create the ERD for the questions. All right, okay.